Hi, everyone. On behalf of Northwest Kidney Centers, welcome to the HopeBuilders live stream. My name is Jessica Janner Castro. I'm a news anchor at King 5 News, and I am honored to be your MC today. I've been in Seattle for about 6 months now, and I love being here. I am absolutely loving the Pacific Northwest. Throughout my career, I've been involved in the communities where I've worked. I've dedicated a lot of time to nonprofit organizations, and I'm really happy to add Northwest Kidney Centers to that list, and of course, to be joining you today. I've loved different organizations I have worked with, and dialysis, though, is near and dear to my heart because I have some loved ones who work in the dialysis industry, and I know how important the work is, so I'm very happy to be here helping in today's event. So with COVID-19, the health of our community obviously has been dominating headlines. We want to thank you for carving out your time today in your busy schedule to spend some time with us. We're live tweeting our program today, and we're welcoming your tweets and your comments. So get on social with us and use the hashtag NKCHopeBuilders. Again, that's hashtag NKCHopeBuilders. And you may make any of your donations, your gifts today, during this time that we're with you on www.nwkidney.org, and you can click on the blue Hope Builders bar. It's going to be right at the top of your screen. You'll also see a link at the bottom of your screen during today's program, but you want to stay with us, so be sure to open it in a new tab if you're using that link on the bottom. So a new tab on your browser, or you can access it on your phone as well to make your gifts. So it's very simple, safe, and secure. We want to take a moment now to thank today's generous sponsors. Our event's signature sponsors are Aldrich & Associates, Ascend Clinical, and the Kidney Research Institute. Our event's presenting sponsors are Davis Wright Tremaine and UW Medicine. Our event's platinum sponsors are AHT Insurance, Puget Sound Kidney Centers, and Swedish Medical Center, as well as U.S. Bank. Our Hope Builders Platinum sponsor is USI. We also want to thank our gold, silver, and bronze Hope Builders sponsors for their support in this event. And because of the generosity of these businesses and organizations, every single dollar you donate today will go directly to support Northwest Kidney Center's mission to promote the optimal health, quality of life, and independence of people with kidney disease through patient care, education, and research. Now, if you've been to a Northwest Kidney Centers event in the past, if you're a patient, staff member, perhaps a donor, well, you already know that continuous dialysis as a life-saving treatment for kidney failure was invented right here in Seattle in 1960 by Dr. Belding Scribner. Northwest Kidney Centers was also founded 2 years later as a nonprofit, community-owned organization to put that very critical discovery into action for the benefit of our community as well as the entire world. So it's very important. And since then, millions of people have lived longer, healthier, and better lives, all thanks to dialysis. Here in our region, 4 out of 5 people with kidney disease receive their care from Northwest Kidney Centers, the 3rd largest nonprofit dialysis provider in the nation and the 8th largest overall. Okay, so why are your gifts so critical at this time? By supporting Northwest Kidney Center's life-saving work, your generous gift today will bring hope to many and also ensure that no one is turned away for treatment regardless of their ability to pay. Your gift today will also support fundraising for an ambitious renovation of Northwest Kidney Center's first satellite dialysis clinic in Bellevue. And when it's completed, patients will be able to enjoy access to a really bright and spacious dialysis clinic and new patient education center that brings home dialysis training, community health education, as well as access to kidney research, all under one roof in one single facility, and it is all available on the east side. So very exciting. Now, I am pleased to introduce you to Northwest Kidney Center's new president and CEO, Rebecca Fox.
Thank you so much for being here with us today. This is not how I imagined I'd be introducing myself as Northwest Kidney Center's new president and CEO. I wish we could all be in the same room right now together, breaking bread, shaking hands, so I could see all of your beaming faces and personally thank you for all that you have done for us. But make no mistake, we are here together. We are connecting as a community, and it matters. There are deeper bonds than just being physically present together in a room. We are doing something historic here today. We are rising above an unprecedented global pandemic and coming together to support Northwest Kidney Centers. We are coming together to build hope. This is what we do at Northwest Kidney Centers. It's what we've always done. It's what we always will continue to do. Since the early days with Dr. Scribner inventing dialysis to all the pioneering advances that we have made in decades since, we have and always will be guided by hope that springs from our commitment to cutting-edge education, care, technology, and innovation. Even as we deal with intense circumstances around COVID-19, we continue to work every day to develop the next revolutionary treatments that will fundamentally improve the lives of people living with kidney disease. This is what we do at Northwest Kidney Centers. This is what we have always done and what we always will do, because we have a community we can count on. We have you. We are so grateful that you were part of our community and for the support you're here to give us today. For just a moment, I want to acknowledge the losses that we have felt in our community over the last several months due to COVID-19. Our hearts break and we grieve with the families that have lost loved ones during this time. As always, with every loss, we feel these deeply, and it renews our commitment to underscore the importance of forging ahead. We must keep researching and developing new ways to prevent kidney disease and to detect it early and treat it with the latest advances in medicine and technology. We must keep modernizing our facilities, like the renovations that are transforming our Bellevue Clinic into a comprehensive kidney resource for the East Side. We must keep lowering barriers to high-quality care so that no patient ever has to worry about their financial security at a time when they need treatment the most. We can do all of this. We must and we will, because of you and your unwavering support. Thank you again so much for being here today, for being part of our community, and for investing in the legacy and the future of Northwest Kidney Centers. Now, let's meet a local family who inspires us every day to have hope and celebrate life. Thank you.
Through there, like that.
Okay.
And then we put the gray things on.
He loves to build things, and he loves to work with his hands.
Another thing that he does is virtual reality.
Okay, can you see Gary on the screen? He's zipping around because he has no mobility issues in Raccoon Lagoon.
Gary and I met in 2004.
My birthday, we got together for our first date.
I was very nervous. I think we both were.
We went to IHOP, and then we went down to Pike Place Market.
We just had a great time, and we really hit it off. Before you know it, we just started seeing each other more often. So we had been traveling, and suddenly we realized Gary's health had declined to the point where we really had to head home. Gary then spent most of the next, I'd say about 5 months in the hospital, in and out. I was very scared. I thought I was going to lose Gary. I mean, I was given the signals from doctors that he may not last more than a few months. His health never really got that much better until finally we realized that what was really needed was to get on dialysis.
Good morning. How you doing? Good.
Once we got started at Northwest Kidney Centers, everything started to change very quickly.
How are you today?
I'm doing fine, and you?
I'm doing fine.
They made us feel like family. They were very welcoming. The process didn't seem nearly as scary as we thought it would be.
A little to the right. Perfect. 98.8.
Rick, he goes with me and stays with me the whole time that I'm there.
Let's get this set up.
He sets up my chair and me, and he makes sure that I'm doing okay. The people that work at Northwest Kidney Center, they're wonderful. I mean, if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be here. I don't know how else to put it. They talk to you. They laugh with you. They make jokes with you. They're kind of like a family with you.
Most of the time I sit there and I just work on my computer and we'll chat. He'll be in his VR. It helps pass the time.
Yeah, you're still doing good.
I think it's pretty exciting. It looks like they're doing a lot of really amazing things, to be honest. They're modernizing a lot of the equipment, including just simple things like replacing the dialysis chairs. People may not realize how important that is when you're sitting for 4 hours. There's patient education. They're setting up a kitchen so that people can learn what can you do to make healthy meals that are compatible with dialysis.
Yes, I'm looking forward to having the new room. There's more windows in it. You'd be able to see outdoors and have natural light coming in.
When I realized that they rely on community donors, it seemed like a natural thing for us to donate. So we try to do what we can.
There you go. How's that? Are you comfortable?
I think I always knew that I had to get through it because I meant everything to him. So I was going to make myself get through it.
Dialysis has improved Gary's life to the point where now we go on trips and we plan for the future. It's a huge difference. It's funny how sometimes the difficult things in life kind of pull you together. I would say that dialysis has probably strengthened our relationship.
He's there for me at all times. I mean, he's always been there for me. That's about all I can say.
Hello everyone, my name is Catherine Byland. I'm a member of the Northwest Kidney Center's Foundation Board and co-chair of the Elevating Eastside Capital campaign. Thank you for tuning in. We are here to build hope. Hope for improving quality of life, hope for discovery, hope for empowering patients and their families through education so they can continue to thrive on their journeys to better health. We are building hope today for all those things and more at our Bellevue Clinic, and we owe it all to you. Because of your generosity, we are making the leap from vision to reality, from an underutilized space built in the early 1980s to a state-of-the-art comprehensive kidney care resource center. This center truly mirrors the mission of our organization. Not only will it provide the latest in dialysis treatment technologies, it will offer a welcoming space for free classes on kidney health and home dialysis. It will help advance research by giving more people in our region better access to clinical trials. Having a research suite at our Bellevue Clinic dramatically widens the pool of clinical study participants. We'll be able to draw from Bellevue, Issaquah, Kirkland, Redmond, Sammamish, and beyond, which will help move us that much closer to making breakthrough discoveries. Your gifts today will also help strengthen the safety net that ensures anyone can receive kidney care, regardless of their ability to pay. It doesn't matter who you are, where you live, what your background is. You never know when your health could take a life-altering turn. My husband, Gary, he remembers the heavy toll that his mother Violet's medical expenses took on his family when he was a teenager. Violet was one of Dr. Belding Scribner's very first patients in the late 1950s. That was before dialysis became the pioneering standard of care that led to the founding of Northwest Kidney Centers. Gary's dad, Ralph, had a good job with the railroad, but Violet's treatments were considered experimental, so health insurance did not cover it. By the time Violet passed away in 1959, her medical bills exceeded $25,000. That was roughly double the cost of a new home back then. Ralph set up a payment plan with the hospital. He spent the next 15 years paying off Violet's medical bills. Today, your gifts will help ensure that our patients can focus fully on their care rather than worrying about how they're going to pay for it. Today, together, we have an opportunity to make a powerful and lasting impact with our gifts. So please, dig deep, give generously, maybe even a little bit more you plan to give when you joined us today. Thank you.
Thank you, Catherine, and thank you, Gary and Rick, for sharing your inspiring stories with us. This is an opportunity to help right now. Open a new tab on your browser or your smartphone and go to www.nwkidney.org. Click on the blue HopeBuilders bar at the top of your screen. The address is also on the bottom of your live stream screen, but we don't want to lose you on the live stream, so be sure to open it in a new tab on your browser or simply use your smartphone. And then just a quick reminder that thanks to our event and the breakfast sponsors, 100% of your gifts will go to charity care and the Elevating Eastside Kidney Care renovation. So many thanks again to our event signature sponsors, Aldrich and Associates, Ascend, and the Kidney Research Institute, and to the event's presenting sponsors, Davis Wright Tremaine and UW Medicine. We're obviously very grateful to all of them and to all of the generous sponsors who support Northwest Kidney Centers. And now for our keynote. Today we have a very special guest speaker joining us. This young woman has defied the odds throughout her life and overcome a near-death experience to accomplish something really extraordinary. She grew up with a passion for snowboarding and dreamed of traveling the world. And despite obstacles that perhaps should have stopped her dead in her tracks, that passion carried her not only to the upper echelons of athletics, but also onto the dance floor of Hollywood and well beyond. I'm not going to give away too much of her story here. I will leave that up to her, but I will share that she is a New York Times best-selling author who has published around the world. She has also toured with none other than Oprah Winfrey, and she has been featured in a Super Bowl commercial narrated by the legendary Muhammad Ali. She's also a 3-time Paralympic medalist for Team USA in snowboarding, so indeed never a dull moment for her. So please welcome today's speaker, Amy Purdy.
Hey everybody, it's Amy Purdy. So first I just want to say thank you so much to Northwest Kidney Centers for having me here today. I want to thank the supporters who are here, all the donors that are here, but most importantly I want to thank all of you who are here. I know that some of you are on your lunch break and you made it, so thank you so much. And I wanted to be there in person, of course, but this way maybe we'll get a surprise visit from my dog Huckleberry. You never know. But my life significantly changed because of the kind of work that Northwest Kidney Centers does. And I'm so honored to share that story with you all today. In fact, when I went into kidney failure when I was 19 years old, it had a profound effect on my life. And I can't think of a better audience than you guys to share that story with. So I grew up in the hot Las Vegas desert, which is not exactly where you expect a professional snowboarder to come from. And all I wanted was to be free. I would daydream about traveling the world, live in a place where it snowed. I'd imagine myself living in a place where it snowed. And I'd see all these stories that I eventually would go on to tell. At the age of 19, I actually moved to a place where it snowed. I moved to Salt Lake City, Utah, where I became a massage therapist because with this job, all I needed were my hands and my massage table by my side, and I could go anywhere. For the first time ever, I remember feeling strong and independent. I remember telling my mom, I feel like I'm on top of the world. I love my life. I love my job. That is, until my life took a detour. I woke up one day with what I thought was the flu. And less than 24 hours later, I was in the hospital on life support. I was given less than a 2% chance of living. It wasn't until 5 days after entering the hospital that I was diagnosed with something that's called meningococcal meningitis. So I wasn't diagnosed with the flu, but I was diagnosed with something much more serious. We have no idea how I got it. All we know is that 1 in 4 people are carriers. That's 25% of the population. And if you're a carrier, you're not necessarily sick from it. So it's very, very rare to get. And all I know is maybe somebody sneezed on me in the elevator at work, and maybe that's how I got it. But due to this little microscopic bacteria, over the course of 2.5 months, I ended up losing my spleen. I lost my kidney function. I lost the hearing in my left ear. And due to the septic shock that my body went into, I ended up losing both of my legs below the knees. My life changed like that. I went from being a normal 19-year-old who could throw on a dress and a pair of flip-flops and, run out the door without a care in the world, to now relying on machines, mechanics, and medical innovation in order to live and in order to even survive. I was in massive kidney failure and I was on dialysis. I started out on 24-hour dialysis in the hospital, and then they moved me to hemodialysis, which I did a couple hours a day, but that ended up making me very, very sick. And so then they moved me to peritoneal dialysis, which I was able to do at home. And I thought that the worst was over. That is until I saw my new legs for the very first time. They were these bulky blocks of metal with pipes bolted together for the ankles. They had this yellow rubber foot with this raised rubber line that was somehow supposed to look like a vein. And I didn't know what to expect, but I can say I definitely wasn't expecting that. I remember my mom sitting by my side, my prosthetist walking in these legs, and he had my legs in his arms. And I just thought, those can't possibly be my legs because they are just made of metal. And they look like they were straight out of the Home Depot plumbing department. It was like pipes bolted together for the ankles. That's it. That's not what I was expecting. I don't know what I was expecting, but not that. And so with my mom by my side and tears just streaming down her faces, I strapped on these chunky legs and I stood up. They were so painful and so confining that all I could think was, there's just no way I'm going to be able to travel the world in these things. Like, how was I ever going to live this life full of adventure and stories as I always wanted? And how, most importantly, was I going to snowboard again? This day I went home, I crawled into bed, and this is what my life looked like for the next few months. Me just passed out, escaping from reality with these beastly legs resting by my side. I was physically and emotionally broken. The thought of living the rest of my life with these hunks of hardware as my legs was so depressing and so overwhelming. I had no idea what my life was going to be like, but I knew that I somehow had to embrace the new Amy. I somehow had to let go of the old Amy, embrace the new Amy, and just take baby steps in order to continue to move forward. And just as I started to get used to this new body and this new life, I found out that I had yet another mountain to climb, which was that my kidneys had failed to come back. And I was devastated. And I screamed words that I could never repeat. In fact, I think it was harder for me to deal with having to possibly have a kidney transplant than it was losing my legs. And I think the difference was losing my legs was very said and done, but having to have a kidney transplant, that's your health. That's the rest of your life. And here we were doing everything we could so I would never get sick with something like meningitis again. So we were trying to boost my immune system. And yet I knew with a kidney transplant that I would have to be on immune suppressive medication for the rest of my life. So it felt like a catch-22. I didn't even like taking aspirin. And here I was going to be taking something that would be suppressing my immune system. And that terrified me. Your health is everything. And it was times like these, times that I had absolutely zero control over, that first prompted me to ask myself a really important question. If my life was a book and I was the author of that book, how would I want my story to go? And this question allowed me to daydream again, just as I did as a little girl. And it actually gave me total clarity on who I wanted to be and who I didn't want to be. I knew I didn't want people to feel sorry for me. I knew I didn't want to be this girl with a disability and everybody like, oh, that's Amy, she's got a disability. So that made me think, well, who do I want to be and how do I want to live my life? And I saw myself walking gracefully. I saw myself somehow helping other people through this journey. And I saw myself snowboarding again. And I didn't just see myself carving down this mountain of powder. I visualized it so strongly that I could actually feel it. I could feel the wind against my face and the beat of my racing heart as if it was happening in that very moment. And that passion and that fire that I felt inside, that is when a new chapter of my life began. 4 months later, I was back up on a snowboard. Although things didn't go quite as expected, my knees and my ankles wouldn't bend. And I think I traumatized all the people on the chairlift when I fell and my goggles went one way, my gloves went the other way, and my legs, still attached to my snowboard, went flying down the mountain. Meanwhile, I was still sitting up on top of the mountain, totally embarrassed. I heard a lady scream from the chairlift, which I'm sure she racked up years of therapy bills after that. That's like the last thing you want to see is somebody break into pieces, as you're learning to ski or snowboard. And I remember just sitting there and feeling so discouraged and just thinking, this is why you don't see people with 2 prosthetic legs snowboarding. But then I thought, okay, well, if I can figure out a way to keep these detachable body parts attached to my body, if I could figure out a way to get my ankles to move in the way that I need them to, then maybe I could do this. And that's when I learned that the borders and the obstacles in our lives can only do 2 things. 1, stop us dead in our tracks, or 2, force us to get creative. So that is what I did. I went home. First of all, I did a ton of research, called every adaptive ski school I could, just to see if they knew of any other double leg amputee competitive snowboarders, which they didn't. Not even competitive, but just snowboarders in general. They did not know. They kept telling me, you should just sit in a monoski, take your legs off, sit in a monoski. And I was like, well, first of all, I'm a snowboarder. I don't want to ski. Second of all, I don't want to take my legs off because I want to use them. I want to figure this out. So I ended up getting turned down by all these prosthetic companies. They didn't make prosthetic legs. And so I decided to make a pair of feet myself. My leg maker and I, we put random parts together and we made a pair of feet that I could snowboard in. So as you can see, there's rubber, there's wood, and there's neon pink duct tape. There's a lot of rusted bolts and metal in there too. But believe it or not, these worked beautifully. So it was these feet and the best 21st birthday gift I could ever receive, which was a new kidney from my dad. My dad and I ended up being almost a perfect match. In fact, they look for 6 different antigens when you have a kidney transplant. My dad was 5 out of 6, which is very rare. Normally you get 3 from your mom and 3 from your dad, but I was almost a twin with my dad. And he was also my only match in my entire family. So he was a great match. And so I figured he deserved to have this mug, which it's maybe hard to see because the picture's little there, but it says, Father of the goddamn year. That's what it says. So that's why, because he honestly gave me life twice. And I was able to, move forward with my life and feel healthy. I had no idea just how sick I was until I had a kidney transplant. In fact, I was so scared to have the transplant that I almost didn't have it. And I thought, I'll just live on dialysis the rest of my life. But I'm so grateful for the transplant because my life has gone back to 100%. I feel just as healthy as I did before. And in fact, the immune suppressive medication that I took and take every single day for the rest of my life originally scared me because I thought, I don't want to suppress my immune system, especially for situations like this where we're dealing with coronavirus, right? We don't want to be the vulnerable one. But I ended up actually not having all the side effects that I thought I would have. Of course, I'm a little more vulnerable. Of course, I have more of a suppressed immune system. But all the side effects, all the stuff I was scared about from the medication, I actually never really had those side effects. And if I did, they didn't bother me that much. So I'm incredibly grateful for that. And I'll tell you guys, for anybody out there who is in the position that I was in, which is nervous or scared to have a transplant because of the immune suppressive medication, I'll tell you, our minds have so much power. I made the choice to accept this kidney before I had the surgery. I made the choice to accept that I'm taking this medication. And in fact, when I take this medication every day, I literally say to myself, this is healthy for me. This is good for me. This is keeping me alive. I look at my medication like it's a vitamin. I'm like, this is keeping me alive and keeping me healthy, allowing me to have a really healthy, good life. And because of that, I really believe that my body has embraced it. It's embraced this transplant, and it's embraced even the medication and allowed me to kind of work with it. I may be kind of talking, crazy woo-woo like magic stuff here, but honestly, I believe that when we mentally accept something, it allows our bodies to accept it as well. And so because of my kidney transplant, because of those feet, I was able to get back to my normal life. I was able to snowboard again. I was able to travel again. I was able to live my dreams again. And at one point, my husband and I, we wanted to help other people do the same. So we started a nonprofit organization called Adaptive Action Sports, where we get youth, young adults, and wounded veterans with permanent physical disabilities involved in action sports like snowboarding and skateboarding. And from the very beginning, we had this goal that we wanted to get snowboarding into the Paralympics because it was in the Olympics, but not yet the Paralympic Games. And so we started creating events to showcase what these athletes were capable of. My husband ended up running the first adaptive snowboard event at the ESPN Winter X Games, which is the largest action sport event in the world. And all these athletes, the athlete you see here, he's missing his leg. Some of these athletes are missing an arm. Multiple athletes are wounded veterans. And so we did that, and then we got snowboarding into like another able-bodied event, which is the Toyota Dew Tour. So this was all to kind of showcase what these athletes were capable of. And after years of blood, sweat, and tears, we ended up being able to help to get snowboarding into the Paralympic Games for the very first time. It was going to happen in 2014. So now that the race to get snowboarding in the Games was over, I began the race to make the first ever U.S. Paralympic snowboard team. And I made it my mission to train around the clock. I was working on my legs and had tools and mechanics in my feet. And I was the only double leg amputee competitive snowboarder worldwide. So, I didn't have somebody I could call and just say, hey, what kind of legs do you wear? I really had to figure it out myself. And over the course of about 18 months, I gained about 20 pounds of muscle. I actually made the U.S. snowboard team, and I headed to Sochi, Russia, where I'm honored to say I became the first female to ever bring home a bronze medal in Paralympic snowboarding. And then I decided to go back for my second Paralympic Games, which was just in 2018 in Pyeongchang, South Korea. And I was able to upgrade my bronze medal to a silver medal. And I also brought home another bronze medal as well. But what's even better than that is the athletes from our organization were able to bring home 6 medals for our country and for Team USA. We were able to train 8 out of the 13 athletes to make the U.S. snowboard team. That included 2 young wounded veterans. And we were so honored just to be able to kind of pass our knowledge on to some of these other athletes so that they could live their dreams as well. And, none of this would have happened if it wasn't for hope. Like, I now realize when I look back on my life just how important hope is. In fact, we don't realize how important hope is until we lose it. If you've ever felt hopeless, like that is the scariest, worst feeling in the world, because I now realize that hope is the core to everything. Hope is the core to resiliency. It's the core to moving forward. It's the core to success. And that's why I want to say a huge thank you to Northwest Kidney Centers for what you guys do, because you give options and options give hope. And I know that I wouldn't be where I'm at today if it wasn't for that. Whether it was the challenges that chose me, like meningitis, kidney failure, losing my legs, or it was the challenges that I chose, like walking again, snowboarding again, hope has fueled the way the entire time. Like that is what I had to have hope to know that I could even move forward. I mean, even when I did the TV show Dancing with the Stars, I had never danced before in my life. So I had to have hope that I would just figure it out along the way. And okay, so I say I've never danced before, but I did country clog dance when I was a kid. This is my sister and I. But you know, I tried out for dance class or a dance team when I was in high school, and I failed. I tried out for cheerleading and I failed. And that's when I had legs. Okay, so now I was going to be on Dancing with the Stars with no dance experience except for country clog dancing and with 2 prosthetic legs. I had no idea what to expect. The other dancers and other stars that were invited on the show, they had about 4 weeks to prepare for their first dance. I only had 3 half days to prepare for my first dance, and that was it. But before I knew it, I was in Russia because it overlapped with the Paralympic Games. That was another thing, is Dancing with the Stars overlapped with the Paralympic Games. So I was in Russia and I would snowboard for 4 hours each morning. And then I would dance with my partner, Derek Huff, for 4 hours each night. And then I would snowboard again. I did that for 4 half days. And so after I won my medal, which was my bronze medal, after I won that, I literally stepped off the podium, went straight to the airport. I traveled for 24 hours. And before I knew it, I was live in front of a studio audience, millions of viewers, and 3 judges dancing the cha-cha-cha, because the first live show was just 72 hours after my Paralympic race, which is crazy. I literally did not think that was even possible to do, but we did it. But going on to the show, I had no idea what to expect. My ankles wouldn't move the way that I needed them to. I didn't know if anything like this had been done before, where somebody with 2 prosthetic legs would be able to dance for 7 hours a day, 7 days a week for 3 months straight. And I wasn't sure if my legs would work for me or not. And actually pretty quickly, we realized that they didn't work. In fact, I remember watching some of the other dancers just move so gracefully and glide across the dance floor. And I thought, oh my gosh, there's no way that I'm going to be able to do that. In fact, my heart sank and I really thought, this is it. I'm going to be the first one kicked off this show. But, you know, and then while the other dancers were trying to figure out what kind of shoes to wear, I was trying to figure out what kind of feet I was going to wear. But luckily, I had my leg maker on speed dial, and nearly each and every week, we managed to find a way. Like, he would overnight these feet and we would try them out and we would see if it would work or not. But because there are no feet that are made for the cha-cha, there are no feet that are made for the salsa, we had to get really, really creative. So there are some dances like this one where it's a Latin dance and you need to be able to really point your toes and move your knees and shake your hips. And I realized that was impossible in my everyday walking legs. So I ended up finding these basically like these mannequin feet. And they're just made of foam and wood. That's it. And they don't move at all. And I actually couldn't even wear shoes with them. So I had to balance on the balls of my feet. And so I did most of our dances on the balls of my feet because it allowed me to bend my knees and move my hips. And then there was other dances like this other photo in the red, where you need to be able to point your toes. And I thought, well, that's impossible. And then I remember that I saw these swimming feet in a magazine. If you can imagine, when you're swimming, your feet are pointed behind you. These are actually made for flippers, not made for walking or dancing. But I realized that I could balance on the very tips of my toes. And when I did that, I was able to get this very long, pretty line and do some of the dances where you need to be able to point your toes. And there was another dance where I used my running blades. So basically, each and every week, we had a problem to solve. But by being determined to solve that problem, I think we grew more creatively and became more resilient than either of us ever could have imagined. And in the end, all of our hard work paid off when we came in second place, just behind an Olympic gold medalist ice dancer, which isn't too bad for a girl who's got 2 prosthetic legs. But looking back on all of this and looking at some of these photos as well, there was a time in my life where I thought my life was over. But little did I know that it was just beginning. I thought it was over when I was 83 pounds, hooked to a dialysis machine, had no idea if I'd be healthy again, no idea what my life would be like. But really, it was just beginning. And I feel like that is why we can't give up on ourselves, because we have no idea what the world has in store for us. After doing Dancing with the Stars, I ended up getting a book deal, and I wrote a book, and it ended up becoming a New York Times bestseller, which I was not ever expecting, and totally humbled and grateful for. And what's even better than that is really people now just send their stories to me. They write me letters from different countries and different languages, and they share their stories with me. And it just makes me realize how important it is to really share our stories, because that's where we connect. We don't all connect in our successes, but we certainly all connect in our vulnerabilities and in our challenges. And part of the reason why I wanted to write this book was because when I was young, if somebody had told me that at the age 19 that I was going to lose my legs, that I was going to lose my kidney function, that I was going to lose my health at that time and the life that I knew, I would have said there's no way I'd be able to handle that. We may think life would be easier without all of the change and without all the challenge that comes our way, but I've learned it's that change and it's that challenge that really forces us to figure out what we're really made of. It makes us dig deep. It makes us find our fire, and it makes us get creative, because that's the only way to reach beyond the reality of this current moment, is by accepting what is, but most importantly, daydreaming of what could be. When I was 19 years old, I had no idea what to expect. But if you asked me today if I'd ever want to change my situation, I would tell you guys no, because my legs haven't disabled me. If anything, they actually enabled me. They forced me to rely on my imagination and to believe in the possibilities. And that's why I believe that our imaginations are huge tools for breaking through all the borders in our lives, because in our minds, we can do anything and we can be anything. It's believing in those dreams and facing our fears head on that allows us to live our lives beyond our limits. So I thought that I'd like to leave you guys with today is that maybe instead of looking at all our challenges and all our obstacles as something that's negative or bad, maybe we can begin to look at them as blessings, as these magnificent little gifts that can be used to ignite our imaginations and help us go further than we ever knew we could go. Because it's not about overcoming our obstacles. I don't even like saying overcoming our obstacles, because there are some obstacles that we can never overcome. So it's not about overcoming our obstacles. It's about using them. It's about using them. It's about pushing off of them and seeing what amazing places they might bring us. And I just wanted to end with this. First of all, this question that I asked myself in the middle of this was, and I'm asking you guys now, is if your life was a book and you were the author, how would you want your story to go? Don't think about writing a book. I literally want to know, like, if you were in total control of your future, and you didn't hear no, and you didn't hear people saying that's not possible, and you didn't believe that's not possible yourself, how would you want the rest of your story to go? Write that down, believe it, and take little steps to get there. You can get there. You can do it. I've done it in my life. It wasn't easy, but I got there. And I just wanted to say as well that, hope is what got me to where I'm at today. Whether I was taking a step for the first time, whether I was getting on my snowboard for the first time, or even dancing for the first time, hope fueled every step along the way. And that is exactly what you guys are doing here today. Of course, we're raising funds so that you can have better treatment centers and so that buildings can get renovated. But really what you are doing is building hope. And that very well could be the best gift that we could ever give to each other or to another person. So thank you guys so much for all the work that you are doing. Everybody plays a part here. I'm honored to just be a small piece of it. And I hope to see you guys next time in person, for real. So thank you all so much.
Thank you, Amy. What a story. Your story of courage, resiliency, and hope will stay with us for a long time. And to all of you, thank you. We can't say it enough. We are incredibly grateful for all of your support. And because of your generosity, families will be better able to face the challenges of kidney disease with the help from Northwest Kidney Centers. Also, special thanks to PNTA and Seattle Events for their invaluable assistance in putting all of this together, today's broadcast. And the recording of the live stream event and online giving will remain open throughout the Memorial Day weekend. So there's still plenty of time for you and others to make a gift. And we invite you to invite others to enjoy today's Hope Builders broadcast as well. So thank you again for your generous gifts to Northwest Kidney Center's patient care, education, and research mission, and for joining us for this live stream fundraising event. I'm Jessica Janner Castro from King 5. Thanks for being here with us. Be sure to check your email for an announcement soon about how much we raised. And again, thank you to you. Have a great rest of your day, and we hope that you'll be able to join us on October 17th at our Discovery Gala at the Hyatt Regency Seattle. See you then.